In the blistering sands of 13th century Egypt, the Mamluks emerged victorious. Their leader, Malik, stood amidst the battlefield, the air saturated with the stench of blood and sweat, a noxious blend clinging to him like a second skin. Each breath carried the metallic tang of iron, mingling with the acrid scent of burnt flesh, overwhelming any sense of triumph. His scimitar hung at his side, but it was the weight of lost comrades that truly burdened him, their blood-dark stains against the golden sand, reminders of the choices he made. Kneeling beside a fallen brother, Malik felt profound loss gnaw at his soul, a void threatening to swallow him whole. They had fought side by side for years, bonded by battle and loyalty. The warmth of shared laughter lingered in his memory, now tainted by the bitter reality of loss. Victory was supposed to be a beacon amidst chaos, but it came with a steep cost he hadn't anticipated. The silence after the battle was thick, pressing down like a shroud over his battalion, each heartbeat a reminder of lives extinguished too soon. Victory felt hollow, echoing with the voices he couldn't protect. The desert wind whipped around Malik, stinging his skin like tiny blades, each gust a harsh reminder of the world outside his grief. The relentless sun beat down, turning his sweat into a salty film that trickled into his eyes, blurring his vision. Victory felt more like a funeral than a celebration, amplifying his despair. Behind him, Zara's voice cut through the silence, sharp yet understanding, pulling him back from the brink. "You asked for this, didn't you?" she said, her tone both challenging and compassionate. Zara had taught Malik that leadership was a privilege that came with sacrifice, a lesson that felt heavier than any sword. Zara's voice softened as she shared her burdens, her eyes reflecting deep wells of wisdom born from experience. "I've carried this weight too, Malik," she said, her gaze drifting to the horizon where the sun cast long shadows over the battlefield. The air grew cooler as dusk approached, a gentle breeze carrying the scent of night-blooming flowers, a stark contrast to the acrid odor of death lingering in the air. "There are nights when I still hear their voices, the ones we lost, their laughter ringing in my ears like a haunting melody." But in that sorrow, she found strength, a flicker of light in the darkness. For a moment, Malik thought of home, the smell of his mother's bread baking, warm and comforting, enveloping him like a soft embrace. He could almost hear the cheerful laughter of his siblings, their voices bubbling with life, filling the air with joy. Those memories were ghosts now, drowned out by the harsh reality of battle. The desert stretched endlessly before him, an expanse of sand that mirrored the burden pressing down on his shoulders, each grain a reminder of his sacrifices. "Leadership isn't about standing at the front," Malik murmured, more to himself than to Zara. "It's about carrying the weight of every decision." In the court, Malik's victories had not gone unnoticed. The vizier, a man of quiet ambition, whispered concerns to the sultan, his words laced with poison that seeped into the corridors of power. "The sultan wonders if Malik remains loyal to Egypt or to his own ambitions," he said, his voice smooth as silk but sharp as a dagger, slicing through the air. Malik felt the chill of those words wrap around him like a noose, a reminder that power was a double-edged sword, sharp and unforgiving. As he walked through the palace, the whispered voices of courtiers quieted in his presence. Within his ranks, Malik sensed unease, a palpable shift in camaraderie that had once defined them. The crackling of the campfire felt more like a distant echo than a warm embrace, the flames casting flickering shadows on the faces of his men, now lined with suspicion and doubt. His lieutenant, once a loyal friend, had become distant, his loyalty now tinged with mistrust. "You've changed, Malik," he said, the smoke curling around them like a bitter reminder of what had been lost. "You spend more time with the court than with your men. We fought for you because you fought with us." Malik stood apart from the campfires, watching his men from the shadows, feeling the weight of their gazes upon him. Once he would have been there, laughing with them, sharing the burdens of the day. But those days felt like echoes from another life, fading into the background. Now their gazes were filled with respect and a widening distance, as if he had transformed into something unreachable. The more victories he earned, the more alone he felt, like a specter haunting the very battlegrounds where he had once fought beside them. He stared at the horizon, the weight of the desert settling on his shoulders like a heavy cloak. Power wasn't the reward he had imagined. It was a burden, a mantle that demanded sacrifices he never wanted to make. Victory no longer felt like something to celebrate. It was a trap, each success pulling him deeper into a world where he could trust no one, not even the men who had once fought at his side. And for the first time, Malik wondered if he was strong enough to carry it all, or if the weight of his choices would break him before the enemy ever could. Was this what true power meant? To be both revered and feared, to walk the line between glory and ruin?